Damn, it's Monday already, son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That came up on us pretty quickly. I can't even lie. After our Friday and telling everybody to get prepared for Monday, we blinked and it was like, oh, shoot, it's here. And it happens to be, in this particular case, Martin Luther King's Jr.'s celebration. So
I was just about to say the man
it's a
don't play. Huh?
yeah,
The
yeah.
man gonna rush the whole weekend to get to his day.
So it was a beautiful thing. Last we spoke, I actually had a good weekend overall. I was actually sick for part of it, but I'm mending up and healing up, so that's good. Um, the
Well,
games
hold on,
were the
hold on, hold on.
games.
Don't roll over that shit. You were sick.
Yeah, but not like that. I had.
You gotta clarify these days. You can't be just talking
See
like
that?
that.
But that's
Should
why.
come through my phone.
That's why you got to say, like you said, you got to say what you're gonna say. No, I had caught a bug of some sort, and it really was trying to get me, and I was like, wait a minute, this is not what we do. So I had to, in my defense, I do things a little bit differently. I gave my own self an enema, cleared myself out. Look, we gonna get this right, my nigga. I'm not playing. I'm not caught up with all that other stuff. Let's get it together. So
Right.
I did all of that stuff. I've been water and fruits and all that stuff. So I'm back to feeling like me yesterday, today, back to feeling like me. So I'm good. And because it's motivational Monday, it's funny. I don't want to say turned off because that's the wrong word, but it was just so much information about Martin Luther King Jr. today. So I couldn't stay on social media because it was just too much. It was like, overkill. And I
Right.
know for some, even though I know it was a way to obviously keep themselves motivated and hopefully motivate others, it just was too much for me. So I took a different approach. And one of the things that I did actually get a chance to do, and that was not too long before we got on air, is I saw that One Night in Miami joint by Regina King.
Oh, you did.
Son,
It's crazy.
off the chain. Fire. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna give away anything. It is a must see movie. And especially in the climate we're in and in the mind frames and mindsets that we're in. So when I say it speaks to each and every bit of what's going on,
Right.
incredible, incredible body of work. Incredible body of
I
work.
told you though, but I knew from watching the making of it and everything. I just knew, like, these are the creative approaches that we're doing now instead of the regular, same old, same old. The
Hmm.
same old was just to grab an interesting story, blah blah blah. But if you do it the way she do it from the angle that it was done from, it makes it so more intriguing. That's like the show she did, The Watchmen,
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
HBO. When she did that over, the way they did it over, it was like it's totally left field. You don't understand. To me, that's where we are today. For the most
Yes.
part, we're out of the remedial show writing, movie writing. Now it's like you got to get creative, bro. If it don't make sense that you light years ahead of something like a book, but yet the book's still winning.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To your point about, like you said, the writing and the way, things are now, being crafted. Uh, and, to your point about, we've talked about this, during this particular slowdown or pandemic. There's so many wonderful stories and so many wonderful things to be told that we really have to do a great job of telling those stories now. And now
Yeah.
is the time. There has never been a greater time to be a creative force than there is right now. Like when I say I was blown away by this, like you said, I mean, watching it and like you said, I'm sure it gave, but it's not, when you watch that
But
movie, T, trust me, you're going to be
I
like,
already know.
wow.
I already know. That's on that's gonna be first thing tomorrow. But here's the thing: what's cracking me up is it makes all the sense in the world when you say, like, the way we're telling these stories, the new way, so to speak. It works out because you got all of these minority and black, writers and directors who's sitting like a Regina King. Regina King, her acting thing was going good, but how much directing was she getting thrown away if it wasn't for her going to get it? You know what I mean? So
Yes.
now you see her take her creativity, put this together, direct this, pull this off. So now maybe you'll come with more things because when you look at the programming for us, bro, is when they do let us touch it, is getting creative. Lovecraft Country, you know what I mean? Some of
Yes.
these shows is like coming from, especially even the ones out of the UK and Canada and
Yes.
all that. Like they
Yes.
good
Yes.
stuff. So I
Yes.
mean, now it's like the NFL. You know, how we talk sports. We was talking about the NFL, and I'd say to people, this is the last year or two of the vintage quarterback. Now these young boys about to take it and run. You know, in 2 years, we ain't gonna be talking about Aaron Rodgers and Brady, and we're gonna be talking about the Mahomes and Jacksons. And, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I think it's the same thing in filmmaking. You finally tap into these people who've been sitting in the wings, waiting, saying to themselves, "Oh, I do this.
Can't.
Oh, I shoot it that way. I kick." But they need the opportunities, and
Yes.
now it looks like we finally rounded the corner of opportunities. So I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff. I mean, it's definitely intriguing. You know what I mean? For lack of any better word, it's definitely that intriguing thing that you want to see. It's a I want to see thing, a must see.
Yeah, it's like I said, it was interesting because I saw my timeline flooded with it, and everybody was like, "Oh, it was great," and this, and that, and the third. Again, I happened to be home today, obviously, for the holiday, and I said, you know what, let me finally check this thing out. And like I said, when I say it motivated me in so many different ways, just based off of the stories and the way that they carried the stories and how the interaction of those, four gentlemen, just like I said, everything about it is dope. Like it, if you come away from that and it doesn't inspire you in some way, shape, or form, then you need to check your pulse. I'm dead serious
Right,
because it
right. Well,
is
I'm
no
glad.
way
I'm
that
glad you did that. That's
you
some
know.
productive shit to do over the weekend. My bitch ass. I took a COVID test. Shout out to the COVID test because now these niggas done wised up and let you
Mm.
stick your own self. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh, okay. Wow.
that was the I remember when it first came out. That was the biggest complaint. Like motherfuckers felt like you was killing them, sticking the shit all the way up your nostril to your brain.
No.
Tapping into old homework and shit up there. So motherfuckers now, I guess it's so rampant and such a bigger thing now. It's like when you go through those drive-throughs and them checkpoints or whatever, they give you the package,
Swab.
and
Oh,
walk
wow.
you through it. You know what I mean? They
Okay.
walk you through it and test and all that. I mean, praise God, everything is all good.
Yes.
Um, but this is where we are. So that part of my good weekend, is coming
Okay.
back. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, the weekend as a whole. We did the podcast down there Thursday for Muy Eventful, which was stupendous. Like we didn't even realize we were talking for over 2 hours. You know what I mean? So that was great. Then Friday, the ladies' night thing happened. Shout out to the girls, Lisa Maggie, Onika McLean tore the shit up. Rima Reem from Buffalo tore the shit up. And then Saturday, Corey Fernandez, one of our favorite New York comedians,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
crushed it along with a bunch of comedians.
Ah,
And Kyle Grooms last night on the final. And the
yes.
band, we had a band last night. They were talking about the band was neo soul. That band was not neo soul. They was just, I think people don't know what to call shit when it's funky. You know what I'm saying? Like when it should be funky. It's contemporary hip hop. What? Anyway, the girl name was Yoshi, and the X band was Yoshi and the X band. But what I thought was so dope, to be honest with you, what I thought was so dope was the music selection and how she was using, again, go back to that whole creative thing, the music selection and how it was dope, where she could take a song because it was a nice anthem beat or whatever, and she would apply her singing abilities and unorthodox skills to some of that shit was like the rap part, but she's singing.
Mm.
You didn't know the
Oh,
song.
wow.
You would think it's just a song, but if you knew the
Mm.
song and the rap, and you're like, wow, that's different. That was nice. So that was part of the great weekend, and which brings me to Monday. One of the theories and things I want to talk about the blessings. I want to talk about counting blessings, right?
Yes.
And I had like epiphany, like I always do somewhere in there. Somewhere between taking a shit or a shower, something's gonna. I don't,
Always
I don't
come
know.
to you.
I don't know who wired this shit this way. What was God thinking when He wired? When they shit, make them think. It's like your mind is everywhere. You don't want to be thinking this shit. Why you said you're trying to focus on what to be a clean and cut one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, what it brought me to realize is a lot of times we got to count the blessings, no matter what side. And I think we make the mistake sometimes of only counting the big blessings, like if you're waiting on a big check or you're waiting on a big promotion or kid going to college, like, or kid graduating, or you got that job you wanted, or you got that house got approved, or all those big things that we deem life changing and life altering, where we should probably back up and hone in and put a magnifying glass on the little blessings. Like I always say that whenever something decent happens for you, or something positive goes through, or some sort of success in some realm, you should always look at all those little working parts, all those people that are around in that circle at that time. It could be anything. It could
Yes.
be we could talk about a recovering addict, right? And he made his 1 year, or she made her 1 year clean, or whatever. Do she take a minute? She should take a minute and look at all those little working parts around her, the intangibles, if you will, that made me get fully through this year. Because just
Hmm.
a year ago, I was fucked up. Like
Yeah.
it was no hope in sight, and yet I made a year clean. So it's a blessing that my mom first maybe let me back in the house during this time. Uh, my friend put a word in for me and gave me this little part-time job so I could keep some change in my pocket while I'm trying to work my way back to realism. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So all these little things along the line, it's just like me. I talk about this in interviews all the time. When I decided to go full time into comedy, like that's it, like leave this good ass job, these good ass benefits, and put all the risk on the table with fucking baby about to drop out the pussy in 3 months. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it was a leap, and I guess you got your focus, you got your horse blinders on. So in those moments, you are not really thinking of what's around you, those working pieces that made that happen. So about 12, 15 years later, it just dawned on me like, dude, hold up. You know, your family held you down. Like inadvertently, like not something said out loud or done out loud, but you dealt with in a real moment in time. But looking back and saying, yo, look at how people align their stars according to my star to make it happen, to give you as smooth as a transition a possible chance. You know how we always talk about equality, and black man just want a chance. He don't want no handout. He don't want no free shit. He just want an equal chance. He don't want to be held back and roadblocks dumped in front of him every 10 feet either. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's what my mind frame is today on Motivation Monday is let that be the motivation for step 3 becoming step 10, or step 10 becoming step 25, because we don't, I don't think, often enough sit back and pay attention to those working parts that make that one big part even possible.
It and first and foremost, that's a great, great point. And the only thing that I could add to that, and I use this when I, share with my friends and share with people who care enough to ask my opinion, is adding gratitude to that in this regard. To those same people, those same moments, those same things that, like you said, seem to have fallen in alignment. A text message, a phone call, thank you. Heartfelt, not just saying it arbitrarily because,
Right.
you think that it's some, what you call it, saying it heartfelt because, like you said, in a real sense, without that alignment, without those people sacrificing sometimes unknowingly to, amongst themselves, all these other things don't eventually line up and happen the way that they do. And I think that, as a collective, that's one of the real things that I think we struggle with in this world is, to your point, seeing all of the smaller pieces to the puzzle and how they fit together to make obviously the bigger picture and the
Right.
entire puzzle. Um, I'm
Of
big
your
on
sound.
telling people, I'm sorry, I'm big on that, and I'm big on telling people that kind of stuff, all the time because I realize that no matter what uh, and how people think of themselves in the world, there's always some other creative forces, be they good or be they bad, because that just depends on where your mind frame and your mindset is coming to help.
Right.
So it behooves you to keep your laser focused definitively on what it is you believe and what you see for the end result. It's easy to be sidetracked or to allow people to say things that may deter you, and that's okay. That happens. But the bigger thing is, as long as you believe in it, as long as you keep fighting for it, and as long as you keep moving towards that goal, then nothing can stop it. We always get this, after effect. Everybody's on after everything comes to fruition. Yo, son, I knew you always had it in you. You, you wasn't with me when we were shooting in the gym. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That ain't personal, but let's keep it 1,000. We try to derail the train and do all kind of interesting things sometimes. And I think that it's unfortunate that as a collective, again, we don't realize that this world is big enough for each and every one of us to
Yeah,
exist in the shine
exactly.
brightly. In the
Exactly.
shine brightly.
I always tell people that all the time, but like we bought hook, line, and sinker into the crab in the barrel mentality a long time ago, and we never got out of it. But to your point, speaking of pushing through and things coming to fruition, our first guest today is a comedian who we're very proud of, and I want to bring him in to the living room chat with us. Julio Diaz is on the show. Bring him up, super producer. Bring him up. Julio Diaz is going to be on the show. What's up,
All
sir?
right.
Hey, what's up, man? How you guys
Welcome,
doing?
welcome. All
How
right, how
are
are
you,
you?
young man? Now, let me say this before I let him talk. He, I met this young man through my son. He's part of my son's clique, who out there innovating and creating all types of things from videos to short films to music, to this thing called comedy. And this brother, from chance one, I gave him to chance five, to chance like this brother's been batting 1,000, and nothing's more sexy in comedy than consistency. I'll tell you that shit, right? So being this young, consistent dude on the rise, I give him the two tasks, Amir. I call him the day before, it's Wednesday before New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is Thursday. We got the driving show. And I call him and say, you ran what you doing? You want some of this stage time? Sure, I'll be right there. Get there. He destroys it. Destroys it so good. I said, bro, you got to come back tomorrow. You're paid. You did that for free on the strip. You ain't doing nothing tomorrow. Come on back tomorrow, get paid. Comes back tomorrow, he destroys that, he gets paid, whatever. So I get this thing come across the desk for Yonkers School System, My Brother's Keeper, which is a Barack Obama foundation, right? That he started when he was president. So My Brother's Keeper calls me and they're like, listen, we want to tap into you, have you host our virtual 4-year anniversary. We want to make it about comedy. We get a little comedy. I'm like, yeah, they tell me the range of the kids that's going to be on the thing, from the parents to, facilitators to the kids. And I'm like, you know what? You need youthful comedy. So I got a couple of cats that are younger that the kids will be able to relate to, blah, blah, blah. But they're not juvenile. You know what I mean? So the adults are automatically relate. So I tap into my son and I tap into Julio Diaz. When I tell you, Amir, they crushed this damn Zoom. I haven't heard a Zoom, and we've been doing this shit all year. I haven't heard a Zoom that loud and laughing that hard. When they hit that button and all the mics were open at the end of each one of their sets, it's 175 people in this Zoom, dude. It sounded crazy. And I'm like, yo, I got off the phone, got onto the individual with them and said, y'all made me so proud that day. That it was a no-brainer when I was putting together this competition lineup for the end of the month. We're going to be at the Stress Factory at the end of the month, and we picked 9 or 10 of the comics that look like they're making their way and should compete against each other for $500 prize. Now, $500 is just $500 in a regular time. This pandemic time, that's $1 million. $500. You see how these people are fighting over this shit in the stimulus?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. True.
this brother has a great shot in there. So congratulations, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen. This is Julio Diaz, the funny man. How you doing, bro?
Welcome, brother. Welcome, welcome.
Doing good.
Probably
I
got
got
a
my
video
headset.
on.
Yes, sir. Got to represent. I appreciate you for having me on. Thank you for the warm welcome. And yeah, man, I'm ready for any opportunity, bro. I've been working very hard, been very consistent with it. $500. That's the stimulus check after taxes. So I'm trying to bring that home. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying
Look,
to.
ain't no
Yeah.
taxes on that shit either.
Oh,
We,
so it's
we just do that shit, just keep it moving. That's a under the table Uncle Sam move right there. Go get out. You know what I mean? Let me ask you a question because first of all, how long you been doing it now?
coming up on 6 years, so I still got ways to go.
So 6 years. So right now, 6 years in, coming up on 6. When you know that you're going to be a part of something like this, this comedy competition thing, and it's 9 other comics, blah blah blah. What level, if any, of nervousness are you dealing with?
None, and that's not me to doubt who I'm going up against. It's more so just I'm really just been competing against myself, and a lot of people always say that, but when nobody knows who you are, when nobody wants to give you a high five when you bomb, you sort of start to really root for yourself, and you start to be in your own corner. You start to be your own hype man, your go-to person to talk to. And I really had to develop that. I've been, going to spots in Brooklyn where it was all Jamaican crowds, Jamaican clubs, and I was bombing bad, and the Jamaican bartender told me some shit like, "Oh, why don't you say some jokes?" And I'm like, "What do you think I was doing for the last 5 minutes?" I was trying to say some jokes, and then that'll pop, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's my time, have a good night." Going out of there. But comedy competition, I really felt like I'm ready for it. Not because I'm looking at the names on the thing, but just my energy. I'm ready. I'm ready to compete. I'm ready to keep my hands up. That's what this shit is about. I don't have to win or lose every time. As long as I keep my hands up, people will respect me. Or at least I can respect myself, most importantly. I can go home feeling really good about myself.
I got a question for you. I mean, like you said, now you've been in this 6 years, and obviously, this is where your passion is, and this is where you see the trajectory of your life, going forward. Was there any point where this wasn't the thing that you wanted to do? You had something else totally different in mind: an architect, a fireman, a policeman, or just anything other than comedy per se. And what made you pivot to comedy and decide that this is it? This is really where I want to be.
To be honest with y'all, I honestly didn't think I can do stand up because I was young. I was comparing, a young person's material to grown people material. Of course, at a young age, you're not gonna get the adults to laugh. So I was a class clown. I wanted to be a basketball player. We all have hoop dreams, but I just did not apply myself. I did not work out. I was not disciplined, and that dream, I had to let it die. A lot of people hold on to. I had to let that dream die because I was not about it. And that was like the biggest turning point in my life because, people want to hold on to things. And it's like, no, if you're not going to work out, if you're not going to do this, you're wasting your time and it's time to move on with your life. And then one day I was unemployed from a job. I got laid off at this job and I saw something about improv class. I thought I was a class clown. I thought I might be good at improv. One thing led to another. I met a group of friends. We kept going to open mics, and I stayed with it. I stayed consistent with it because it just made me feel good. We all have to work. We all have to pay the bills. We all have to do what we have to do. And if my nightlife was going to do an open mic instead of going to the bars, that's what it was going to be. And I stayed consistent with it. And then at some point, I said, you know what? I really like this. I don't have to be Kevin Hart. I don't have to be the next big guy. As long as I fully commit myself the way I wasn't doing in my prior dream, then this is not a dream anymore. I made it a reality, and now I'm living in it. It's not my dream of stand-up, my dream of comedy. It's Julio Diaz every day making something a reality. I go out there and I make it happen for myself. I don't wait for somebody to tell me you're a comedian now. I tell myself every day, you're a comedian because you're putting in the work, and this and that. And I moved forward from there.
No, that's a dope question, first of all, and answer. I thought it was well put because you point out something in there that I think we can all tell our comrades and constituents and coworkers like that makes all the sense in the world. Be your own corner man. You know what I mean? Your own cut man, your own hype man, your own every little man that people usually need somebody else to do that job. If you do that job yourself on oneself and for oneself, you got you you got the food trait, for us by us. It makes the most sense in the world. It's much better than me. Have you done a lot of contests and competition in 6 years?
No, I think this is my first stand-up competition
Okay.
in a sense where it's like a winner takes all. But
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because I'm allergic now. You know what I mean? I'm telling you a story about me. Like my grand opening, grand close in the contest, like it was so bad that I had an in for Last Comic Standing. It was kind of like, going to be rigged for me to win, but I still wouldn't take it because I was so fucked up from the one I lost back in the day. I had to be about not even 2 years in the comedy, maybe 2 years the most. In Long Island, they had this comedy room called Tribeca. It actually was a club, but Friday nights was comedy night. So one night they figured we're gonna do a contest. And Barbara Carlisle and Franz Cassius, both are Long Island comedians. I'm coming all the way from Westchester, Mount Vernon, whatever. I'm the odd man out. But when it came down to it, I ripped that bitch like it was clear who the winner was. And they went into the voting and came back and gave me third fucking place because I'm not from around there. These two local motherfuckers, they was like, oh, first place, second place. Oh yeah, he was good, third place. I was so pissed the fuck off, B. Like,
Wow.
so burnt. I was so burnt because it's one thing if it was close and I got edged out, like, you just got edged out. But it wasn't even that. It was so clear and apparent, and it was like they didn't care. It was like, we're gonna make sure our local heroes shine, give them a little things, whatever, keep it moving. You should be happy, young boy. I know it was like that whole, you're so young, keep it happy, be happy. So, but what they end up doing is fucking traumatizing me and making me hate the politics of the business. You know what I mean? I got a crash course up close and personal of the politic part of the business. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. So now I'm sitting back there, and now you start talking to the powers that be and other people that just happen to witness the shit. Like, yeah, you should have won, blah blah blah, and and now I'm learning. They like, so and so they live down the block. That's so and so's cousin. His house is over there. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's the inside job, and I just got the Denzel. Okay, y'all just inside job. So that stayed with me. Now, mind you, this year, July, will be 30 years. That happened in year 1.5, you know what I mean? But it stained me and scarred me all the way up to this point. So back when Last Comic Standing was on, I get the call like, yo, you do this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really do contests. It was like, no, I understand that, but you should do this. And I'm like, no, I should not. And like, you're trying to tell somebody, bruh, you good. You good on this one. I'm like, no, I'm not. so I end up, that's a boat I let pass by or whatever. I don't regret it, but I laugh at it now and I know where it comes from, where it stemmed from, the whole journey in between. So I applaud you, man, to be 6 years coming up on your game and not letting this rattle you. My best advice to you is do everything you've been doing. Don't overthink shit. Don't, even when you're in the place to be and you're watching, because we don't know yet till we get there what order everybody's going to fall in, right? So my thing is, let's say you falling out of 9 motherfuckers, you fall in 7 or 8. Don't get wrapped up in those first 5 or 6 that went before you, that it gets into your brain and disrupts something. You just stay the course, you do what you plan to do, and let the audience talk for you. You know what I mean? Let the response win it for you. All we can do is get out there and put that thing together and display it and go, boom, here you go. And it's up to the crowd and the people in the audience. I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it. You got layaway, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? You just do you. I think you got a great chance at this bat.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for, putting me in the competition. And I feel you. I've been submitting for like the HBO Latino stuff, and I'd be looking at my tapes and I'm like, all right, I'm good. And then I'll see who gets on and I'm like, man, it really is, so, who knows who.
Politics.
Yeah,
but don't, here's the thing though. Here's the thing, what I've learned, and I'll stand by this and I'll go to my grave with it because I've seen it 1,000 times over. You can't stop the cream from rising to the top. It's impossible. If you make a cup of coffee and you put a cream in it, it changes the whole complexion of everything. You know what I mean? And that's what we are. True artists who are really blessed and good at what they do, they are the cream that always has to rise at some point of occasion to the top. You just can't keep it, won't stay down. It's going to dilute and change the color and complexity of everything. You, my brother, are proof in that pudding. You are that cream. So that's why I said the best advice I could give you is stay doing exactly what you're doing. You put it into words. I didn't expect them, Amir, to be able to put it into the words you did. You said, listen, I'm 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 in my own corner because ain't nobody waiting to high five me when I bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know how this shit is. Outside of ourselves, we're only as good as they can throw us, like, or what they can get from us. So when you're bombing, you're right. Everybody's looking this way, turn this way. What else is going on? You know what I mean? When you're doing great and coming out the wood, yo, you are the only corner man, cut man, hype man for yourself that no matter what the weather, still gonna be there.
Stay your course. Yeah.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So that's amazing, brother. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
I wanted everybody to understand Julio Diaz is here. He's officially arrived, and I look forward, brother, to that competition to see where you place in that. So just stay the course, my man. Stay hit as many stages as you can. Stay funky with it, and respect, man. I just wanted to tell you I'm proud of you.
Good luck, man. Good luck,
Respect.
brother.
Appreciate y'all.
Man. That's the big homie right there, Julio Diaz. You know what I'm saying, Amir?
Yeah, that's that. It to your point, he had such a great perspective of his own for his journey. And that speaks to what we were talking about before, we brought him on. Nobody can see your vision but you, you know, nobody can see that vision but you. I know, we explain it to people or we share it with people and then we'd be like, you see what I'm saying? No,
Right.
no.
But you know what's crazy is my son is half the time. So he's going on 6, my son going on 3 or whatever. And what I do is look, especially when I look at my son, and I told him, I said, you guys don't understand. You're in such a more advanced, better place than us. And we're funny. We're good at what we do, but they so at the time frame, like my son going on 3 years, me 3 years, my shit was so remedial, superficial, whatever word you want to call it. It didn't have no layers or substance. This little Negro, this nigga, when he writing and telling shit, I'm sitting there like, damn.
Wow. But you know what?
You're applying that.
You know what's so funny, and I always say this, but people do and don't understand this. Again, for Motivational Monday, please hear me when I say this to everybody listening on all these platforms. Your children are always watching. Always. I can't stress that enough. And I say it from this standpoint. My daughter, she launched a sweatshirt line. My eldest, Amir, she launched a sweatshirt line. And, I was trying to, she asked me for certain things, but she's been in and around her dad and her uncles and her grandmother and, and all these different people enough to know certain things. Now, will she still have some hurdles to climb and some ups and some downs? No question. But to your point, the fearlessness to get out there at the age she is and at the stage she is in life. When I was 27, I was in these streets. Let's keep it 1,000. I was in these streets. Right. I wasn't even remotely thinking about launching a business, let alone trying to be an entrepreneur and all these different things. And not that those things weren't being presented to me, but I didn't have the mind frame and the mindset, nor did I have necessarily the pieces around me and the energy around me to even think along those lines. So in this particular moment in time, that's what's so powerful about what's going on. Is there's all these examples on all these different platforms and all these different places that if you just take a moment and you open your eyes, you'll see that there are all these things that you can pull from, learn from, and then take those things and just put them in your toolbox. You don't have to apply them right away. You don't even have to use them, but you put them in your toolbox. So down the line, when you find yourself in these specific moments and these specific situations, you now have those things to refer back to and go, I saw something like this. I think I can get past this. I just need to go back through my facts here and see, where this, where I saw this before and what application I could possibly use to, to get through this particular situation. And, young talented artists like the gentleman who we just had on, Julio Diaz, to that point, because the internet is so enriched with all kind of, wonderful comedic stuff. I'm looking. I spend part of my day looking at all the funny shit from all the different internet comedians. I'm not even gonna lie. I'll be watching all the videos, whether they stuff about relationships, whether they stuff whatever. I watch just about everybody, and I'll be watching them crying like, yo, I gotta send this to somebody. This shit's funny as hell. But I love the fact that they're using their not only their time but their acting, their learning to do all the things that we just didn't have the opportunity to learn because those moments weren't presented like that.
Yeah,
When we came up,
exactly.
when we came up just to make people laugh. I was in 3 rap groups and 1 singing group when I was coming up. At least 2 rap groups and a singing group.
Right.
And but that's because rap had just started, when we were kids. So either you wanted to be a rapper because you heard about Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, or or Treacherous 3 or something like that. And rap was in its early infant stages. So rap to us was everything. We tried to rap about anything and everything, and then we had the worst rap names ever. I'm Aquarius. I'm Amir Aquarius. It was just dumb names. Stupid stuff that you came up with that you look back on now and you'd be like, yeah, that was terrible. That was really
That
dumb.
was, but it was the shit back
But
when you did it. It was the shit.
when you did it. But to that point, it was because the time and the time frame gave us those as examples. We obviously wanted to emulate those examples. And my point being that now, because there are all these media platforms that have all of this tremendously amazing content, go out and research the content, y'all. It's here for you. And then look and see, some of what's being done and go, okay, how could I add my spin to it? Or what touch could I bring to this situation or
Right.
whatever? And then just go from there because it's here for you. There is no way you can't tell me that it's not here for you.
No,
There's
no,
no way.
you're absolutely right. Okay. So first and foremost, we had to reschedule my girl Nadine from Nate
Okay.
Song's place. We'll talk about that probably next week.
Okay.
The wonderful things they're doing over there for the fighting against autism and also the
Autism.
education of
Okay.
autism. Because we still educate. When it comes to autism,
Still
it's
have
still
to,
an
yes.
uphill battle of just letting people understand what it is and how it works. That's first of all. So she'll be return next week, and we'll catch up on that. Later on, we'll wait for DJ, our good friend Barry B. He's been killing his mixes, and I want him to come on
Yes.
and have a few words, tell people how to find him and his shows and stuff like that. But now, back to the original thing I was working off of with the whole blessings and people and places and things aligning themselves to make things work. Does anything jump out of you? Like if you just look in your life, you go look in the past, or even maybe something recent and say, you know what? This good thing happened to me. Could be being called back to work, could be a certain job promotion, could be a family member getting well, whatever the case may be. Something good. Spiritually the energy's good and it happened that you can now look back. Because in the heat of the moment, I always say we miss a lot in the heat of the moment. That's why
Yes.
you ever notice when you go back and watch a movie, a classic for a second or third time, you see some shit, you're like,
All
man,
kind of
I
shit.
didn't
You be
even
like,
notice that. Right, I didn't even notice this nigga had on flip flops. You know what I'm saying? Something stupid. But it's like, is there something like a point in life that you can go back and point at and go, yeah, this is what I was
okay.
doing, this is what happening, but look at what was happening around me that made it happen.
Okay. To your exact point, and you will remember this because obviously you were there to witness. So we going back, what's this, 90, 94, 90, 94, 93, whatever.
Right.
Los Angeles, Venice Beach. Now we coming up on this because February 1st obviously is Malik's birthday, and then the 9th is mine. So our birthdays weren't so much big celebrations because we weren't. My mom never made our birthdays about celebrating.
Well, you
She
said his birthday's what?
is February 1st, and mine
First.
is February 9th.
Okay.
So if you remember, every year Malik used to have a birthday celebration in LA. And at his birthday celebration, he would get a group of the people, closest to him. And back then he had a house in Venice Beach in LA. And he would fly us all out and we'd all hang out. It was like one big clubhouse. Let's just keep it 1,000, but it was like one big clubhouse. And for those of y'all who don't know, that's to tell y'all again how long I've known Talent. So y'all think that this is new, but we go back. But to that point, we in the we in the clubhouses. Me, you, Terry DeHare, my boy Spank. Um, I can't even think of some of the other names and people that were part of that experience. But why I bring that up is because I remember being there and seeing all of you gentlemen. And at that point in my life, I was still super young. I had already had a daughter, so unbeknownst to most of y'all, I had a kid, and even though I was making that trip out there, I knew I always had to come back home and do what I needed to do in order to stay focused and make sure that she was taken care of and everything was good. But I bring that up because, to your point, it showed me that there was a way to really enjoy life with the people who were in other facets of life that were dope,
Right.
that you may or may not have understood. But now that you had a chance to be up close and personal with them, you now like, oh my God, that's kind of dope. You know what I mean? And then you factor in back then, meeting certain celebrities, and things that we got a chance to do by being, in that energy back then. And it fast forwarded me to where I am now in this regard. So we, you've been on IG, you've been doing your thing with your morning show, where you're just really giving us information and allowing the entire free world to, know what's going on. And I really jumped on just because I love you. You my guy, and I'm like, yo, T's on. Let me just see what T's talking about. And my responding and sending energy into the show is really just me being me. That's not something new, whatever. If you know me, you know me, and you like, yo, you start talking on me, dude could talk. But I bring that up because I remember you coming to me and you saying, yo, let me, you want to come in, whatever. And to be honest with you, I was terrified the first time you asked me to come on the show and everything, because in my heart of all hearts, I had never really been in front of the camera like that, first and foremost. And then secondly, I felt like if I did have the opportunity, then I'd fumble it because I get nervous and I get in my own head in my own way. And when it didn't happen, I was like, wow, this was actually pretty cool. And then you brought me back and you said, Amir, you want to come back again? And I said, okay, cool. And then you did something that really helped me become even more comfortable in co-signing by saying, this is a dude who really just speaks from his heart, and everything that he talks about and how he goes about it is just him. This isn't some new this, that, the third. If you know Amir, this is really who he is. And from that moment to where we are now, it has empowered me in such ways that I started thinking of other things that I could do, not only with this platform, but with other platforms. And I just, am humbled and thankful by it, because the fact that, we were connected, through my brother, and the fact that we were connected through the industry and, so forth and so on, has led to all of these other amazing things opening up, in and including all the amazing friendships that we share as a, together. Like I told you the other day, my friend Jennifer Jackson, mentioned you, and that was funny because, like I said, we were just having a regular conversation. She was like, I know talent. Like, you don't know. She was like, ask him the hello.
Oh, second. And what's crazy this weekend? Remember how we talked about Haywood Workman, our boy
Yes.
Wood. So I linked up with Wood while I'm down there in Tampa. And then who is Wood working with in the same weekend? Grandmaster D. The damn number I needed since Ecstasy passed away. And I went to reach out to D, and the number was changed. And inadvertently, all that connection rekindled.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what people don't understand. So, something that you said earlier about the gentleman Julio Diaz, and people, please understand this. Yes, in this world, you want to get paid for what you do, or compensated. We'll use that as a better word. But sometimes just doing the right thing in the right moment opens doors that you can't even begin to imagine. I have had the blessing of being around talent: Rudy Rush, Rolf Stapleton, Gerald Kelly, the list goes on and on, Drew Frazier, all of these, different gentlemen and comedians. And to the point, like I said, back in the days, if any of y'all really have been around them, then you've actually seen me because I used to come to every show they've done everywhere throughout the city. I was there almost like clockwork and almost to the point that you would think I was a comedian because I'd be usually where they were as opposed to being in the audience where everybody else was supposed to be.
That's
But
true.
with that having been said, I just personally just didn't feel like I have first of all have the heart to do what they do. I get a little stage fright and all that kind of stuff. And then, like I said, joking to me, I'm funny to myself. I don't know about the rest of the world, but to me, I'm funny to me. But with
Right.
that, again, even having been said, each and every one of these gentlemen, I've watched morph into these amazing, amazing talents. And it's because of the not giving up. It's because of the continuing to work on their craft. It's because of the continuing to grow as an individual. All of these things are so paramount and so important for each and every one of us. And it just requires that you step out of your comfort zone of just truly only doing just enough. I get
Right.
it. I get it. But you got to go beyond doing just enough if you want that fantastic body. So you got to do the extra exercise, and then you got to take something out of your diet that's not serving you. That's
Yeah.
just the reality of it all. Doesn't make it right or wrong. That's just reality. But
I think people take too much time, Amir, studying the wrong thing. Like in front of your face, you can study the guy, the example of hard work, and then there's a guy who got lucky. So I think a lot of people would rather play the odds and study the guy that got lucky as
lucky,
opposed to the guy
the
that put
hard
in the
work.
hard work.
You're absolutely right. T, again to that point, and this is why I said the internet is so powerful. So this weekend, again, I'm cruising through, finding a whole bunch of different stuff to look at. So I happened to come across this interview with DJ Clark Kent. I don't know who the gentleman was interviewing him, but it was on IG, and I said, well, let me tune in. Clark Kent was coming up with so many jewels about not only the record industry, but just about music and different things. But something he said really stuck with me. He said, when you look at the landscape of DJing, he said, unfortunately, cats are out for what they believe makes sense in their head. So you're a great Houston DJ. You're a
Right.
great uptown DJ. You're a great house DJ. You're a great hip hop DJ. He said, I'm a great DJ, period. And when I tell you that, it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was saying to myself, he was like, I play everything. He said, I love music. He said, it's great that some people become possibly specialists in certain things, but the reality of it all is music has this whole broad scope. It's not just hip hop. It's not just R&B. It's not blue-eyed soul, as some of us call it. It's all of these different genres that, in theory, have what is known as great music. And when you find great music and you play it, then it will resonate with people. And that's just it.
But
We are
hold on. Let
doing.
me piggyback off of that deepness right there. Because our next guest, this is perfect. Bring in DJ, my man Barry B, who has his own radio shows on 108 Soul. Bring him in. Barry, what up,
Yes,
player?
sir. Yes,
My
sir.
brothers, my
It's
What's
a
going
brothers,
on?
family reunion.
what's going on? How
Salute.
y'all feeling?
Everything's good. Everything's
Look,
good, brother.
let me work my workout game. I heard what was being said earlier. Let me
How
show
you
y'all like
feel?
I'm in it. Trying to craft my body, do all the good things, eating right, Amir, doing all
Yes.
those good things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Messing with talent, y'all like my good shoulder and my bad shoulder right here on the same podcast right here. Goodness
Hey, hold
gracious.
up. So hold up, dog. You heard what he just said? The last thing Amir said was the difference in DJ. He said something resonated with him watching Clark Kent.
Yes.
Clark Kent
Yes.
said you got the good house DJ, the good uptown DJ, the good hip
Yeah.
hop. He says, no, I'm just a good DJ, period. What
Right.
is Barry B? Speaking on the DJ level.
I would like to mimic a little bit of what Clark Kent done. I've actually prided myself in being that kind of DJ that does it for every particular genre. It feeds the soul better. When you pigeonhole yourself as a DJ into one, maybe two or three things and just stay with that. I'm that dude and I gotta stay street. I gotta stay this. You'll never grow and you'll never even understand or I question your love for music. if you are like that,
Ooh.
because all genres feed the soul better. Like y'all know me. I travel a lot. I can't go to Texas and spend, which I do in Dallas, the way I spend up here. It just won't be done. You have to know your people, know your element. They have certain tunes that you and I probably would never dance to in a party in Manhattan or Brooklyn or in the Bronx at all. But they got their thing where they know the hell, this is on, it's popping. That's what I want to please all crowds, all people everywhere. I can't go to an Essence and not light it up for everybody. I can't be on Bourbon and do it just for New York. You got to do it for everybody.
Well,
Got
New York is very spoiled, right? New York,
very, very
New
spoiled.
York is all the bad words in adjective history. They
Agree.
cocky,
Agree.
they spoiled.
Agree.
So when you play in New York, every city got music that New York wouldn't fuck with.
Yo, it's crazy, man. I mean, because we come from the birthplace of hip hop, that
No question.
there was a time prior to Dre and Snoop. I never thought West Coast music would get play up here. To be honest with you, if you feel my vibe with that, because we were heavy,
Yeah.
Eric B and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, name all the artists up and down. New York was running the world, so we didn't think other influence. We were so cocky because we lived among the stars. So once these other influence start hitting the wave, and then let's Too Short. He was the man, way before or during the same time, and they had their own. West was popping. And I'm glad it took time, like all things evolve, to really merge all styles, and so we get to appreciate everybody and make it all one. That's what makes real good DJing, real good music. Talent, I see you doing your thing. Amir, you've been a music guy as long as I've known you, and just love for it all. So that comes with just the network, the connections that we have now, this day and age, is popping.
And you're right about the whole birthplace of hip hop and the West Coast, even the Dirty South. When it started to creep in, it was like, the leg up that the Dirty South had on the West Coast transition is that we used to go there to play all the time. So the Freak Nicks, you know what I mean? The Freak Nicks and all that. So the South was where we migrated from predominantly, and it became our playground in our adolescence, in our early 20s and stuff like that. Right. So we kind of had a little foot over there, but still, when you was in New York, you'd be fronting. You come back to New York, and it's all about New York. So I wanted to bring you on today because you on my mind every week, because you go hard with your shows on
I appreciate it.
Soul.
Yes, indeed. 108 Soul. Every Monday, I'm on from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. Please encourage all your listeners to tune in. It's a clean show. I juggle all kind of music. The format of the station is classic R&B, classic hip hop. Tonight, in a minute, I'm going to do it live and do it different in honor of the day of service for MLK. So play some nice and easy tunes tonight, because we got to play for the times as well. Let's not be a DJ where we're not conscious enough to play. Like, you're going to hear me play that Omi Says tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It just fits. You're going to hear a little Marvin. We got to touch the classics and go back where standard formats don't want to touch. They just want to stay with what gets you paid, who's doing this right now. We need like a format like 108 Soul. They allow us the flexibility to play for the times and really hit you with some good tunes. That's real good music.
That's what I like. I want to extend the offer to you, man. You should be our this should be the resident DJ segment. Since your show comes on every Monday, we come on every Monday. 45 minutes, 15 minutes before the show close out, you come on us, let us pick your brain, get into, because I know as a DJ, as a music lover, and I know Amir too, we go into these zones sometimes. So like you said, this is Martin Luther King. Next Monday, you might wake up and feel a certain way in the day, be like, you know what? I'm going to hit him with the boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you could come on here and we could talk that up.
Love it. Let me tell you, I appreciate that, and I humbly accept that. As often as I'm available, I would love to be here, to be with both of my brothers here. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. I play. I have a bit of a following. When I go down there and see my brothers, Keith, that whole DC go-go thing. So I'm forced to put my hand into that. That's hip hop's cousin right there. You know what I mean?
Yes. No question.
So
I love go-go.
Yeah. Live band, come on, man. That's another thing, man. I love to recreate that whole. I've been on sets and open mics and actually did act like a DJ was a band member, similar to like a Roots or something like that.
Wow.
That kind of flavor is so awesome. Yeah, Barry Roots.
Yeah, it's nothing. But you know what, Barry? To something that you said just a minute ago. I just, again, like you said, I wish that as a collective, again, we could see the power in all of this beautiful music coming from, again, all around the country, but also all around the world. Because I've been put on this, stuff from other countries that even had me like, oh, this is just good. And it's horn oriented. It's it might be drum related or whatever the case may be. But have you like this? Oh, wait a minute. This is right here. This different. It's different right here. Let me get this in, let me get this in. Because we don't do that. Like you said, I always say this. We got the 30 to 100 known songs that we love.
Right.
And people kind of stay in that zone, yo, son, you didn't give me before I let go. Son, you've heard that 9,999 times.
Factual.
Already. If you don't sit down somewhere, let me do what I'm doing. Because even as I watch the IG lives, I be watching people, typing in like you could be in a zone and people typing in, would you play this for me?
Right.
No, I'm in here doing what I'm doing. Either enjoy it or go pull it up on YouTube on your own time.
Crazy.
Stop trying to mess up my zone here. You know what I mean?
Man.
Music is a beautiful.
On top of that, we're still dealing with two generations, not one, but two generations that don't even know where the samples came from. They believe that they made the music. This hot beat, they did it. Whoever this new hot guy, they did it. Had no clue. We come from an era that did the history. We were the ones really digging in the crates to find the samples. That is the evolution of not just hip hop, with a main part of it, but all music now. Look how hip hop influenced everything to resample and recreate or play over and give ideas to bands everywhere.
And then, and then you can see the influence as well, obviously, even in our movies and TV shows, because I always find it really interesting. It might be written into a script. I don't know, Talent. You could probably speak to this much more so because, you're in that part of the industry. But I always find it funny when you watch one of these, others movies, and there's this weird hip hop scene in there where the two girls go off dancing to something that we grew up on, and you'd be like, I know this was something that we rocked to. I'm not
right.
When was Becky and them, doing this? But I say this, in all fairness, because all of my boys who, did have the opportunity to go to college, I wasn't one of them. They're like, nah, son, you got to understand. Those are the go-to, for whatever. So
whatever.
I mean,
they fall in that beautiful category. Yes.
Hip hop, when hip hop, see, the funny thing about hip hop, and this is always the case in America with black stuff versus anything else, it behooves them to not let you know what's hot in its exact time, because they make more money. If you were to know exact timing of when something was hot, you would make more money. But the system's not set up like that. So the Rakims and Big Daddy Kane's and all that, and the Young MC, all those hip hop songs was hotter in the club before the artists knew. So the white people would go to the club, the DJs, no matter what you did during the day, what kind of job you had, whether you were corporate or not, the DJ is the guy who's the DJ. His job is always to play the hot shit. So he would play hot shit and people would go. Now the artist is back in Brooklyn, has no clue.
Right.
This shit is rocking up in Sunset Boulevard. You know what I mean? You don't know yet. The artist only got indication when a song got radio hot, because you can't get around it, you hear it. So when the song got radio hot is when the artist kicked in like, yo, we got a hit. Like, yeah, you 5,000. So okay, okay.
Right.
And then they listening for, yo, we played 3 times today. We played, but without radio, the powers that be was guapping out because I was able to sell this hot commodity, and you not
Right.
even know yet because you're way over here. It's just like I was interviewing Sabini Miles. Remember Sabini Miles got the clothing line, and when I was interviewing him, and he goes into a story of why he had to stop from the designer world. Then finally he's back now. But he was like, T, you gotta realize we came up in an era where it was so much black creativity with the Black as Hell University, the Shabazz brothers, the D-Los, the Cross Colors, the Carl
Sure.
Kanais, the Christian K. With all those things, he said, you had the people who had the money, the actual brands. He said they exploited the shit out of me. My shit was selling all through Europe, and I didn't even know until a friend was on vacation and said, yo, my nigga, I didn't know you fuck with blah, blah, blah. So when he followed up on it, he found out that Mark Echo had took his shit and just started distributing and selling this shit all over the world.
Wow.
But my point is, a lot of this always gets done to us because they figure you don't have the means to know. You're over there. You sell it over. And until it's time, I'm not going to pay up until it's fucking time. That is the way of business in America. Samsung did it to Apple. Samsung took the Apple technology and said, we're using it for our smartphones. Yeah, but you stole it. They're going to sue you and you're going to lose. Yeah, we'll lose. But by the time we lose, the money we got to pay them, we'd have made 4 times.
Yeah.
So I got to get them $4 billion. You get that because we made 16 while we was bullshitting. You understand what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Again, we always run out of time. Shout your shit out again, Barry, because people want to go over there, get some good music tonight.
Everybody, please tune in. 108 Soul. Make sure you download the app. It's on all platforms. Your Apple Store, your Google Assistant. You can command your Amazon Alexa. I appreciate you in advance checking in, especially the both of you, my brothers. 108 Soul, that's what it is. Every Monday. And on occasion now, they got me rocking on some Fridays too, right before Mel Star comes on and closes out the show. So you'll hear me on the station coming up more often on some other days. But Monday is my slot, 8 to 10 Eastern. So I appreciate y'all.
Sure.
Rock out, man. That's my man, Barry.
My brothers. Appreciate y'all. One love.
You got it, bro. Another mixologist on the thing. Amir, any shout outs and closing?
You know, as always, first and foremost, shout out to each and every person who tunes in on the various platforms to share this Motivational Monday with myself and Talent. I absolutely adore and appreciate each and every one of y'all. And know that I'm also motivated by you guys because that allows me to, you know, get up for the show every Monday, truly. I'm excited and I look forward to this. Big shout outs to you and you know, like I said, everybody who's involved, man. This is my Monday.
Prophet P, because you know he on there with the mixing board.
Yeah, Prophet, sir. Super salute to you because you're always keeping us doing what we're doing here, and it's always amazing. And every now and again, I'll see some things flash across the bottom of the screen. So thank you to everybody who chimes in with comments and all that stuff. We appreciate you and love you too. So thank you.
All right, everybody. It's been a Motivation Monday. We love you. Ain't nothing you can do about that. Stay the course, people. Stay the damn course. And remember, take a moment to recognize the baby blessings as well, because the baby blessings is like money. Shit adds up. You know what I mean? You take enough pennies, you got millions. This has been your boy Talent, your boy Amir Silly. Shout out to our guests. Good luck to Julio Diaz on the competition. Shout out to next week. She'll be joining us from Nason's place. We'll have my girl Nadine. And of course, our new resident DJ keeping the music flowing later on Monday nights. That's like an extension of Motivation Monday, DJ Barry B.
Yes.
Salute. Love you, man.
Salute.
All right, King.
All right, King.
Peace.
Peace.